Hi, folks. Welcome back to Crisco's Corner. Washington Times. Democrats still outraged that the election was so close. Good Lord. You're going to love this one. This is great. The ruling elites are still sore the election was so close, even with all the COVID voters. We're going to call them that, I guess, rather than the FRAUD word, because that will trip the algorithm for this video. They're ticked that Republicans gained seats in the House, will probably hold the Senate. Oh, please, Jesus. Retained all GOP-controlled state legislatures and added a couple of governorships. That party even gained ground among minorities such as Hispanics in South Texas and South Florida. Well, don't they know? Republicans know that if you're black or Latino, because of your race, you have to vote Democrat. That's not racist. That's just the way it is. Wow. And who's at fault for this outrage? It's not just the big orange man with the coattails who inexplicably lost to a corrupt basement recluse. It's his followers. Yeah, they're the problem. They just don't know what's good for America and need to be chastised. Oh, you just don't know what you want, you poor voter. And so the shaming has begun in earnest for the folks that Nancy Pelosi dubbed enemies of the state. Former Twitter CEO Nick Costello actually tweeted this: "Me first capitalists who think you can separate society from business are going to be the first people lined up against the wall and shot in the revolution. I'll happily provide video commentary." Wow. Wow, wow. In a November 10th editorial, an astonishing GOP slander, the Washington Post assailed Republican leaders for not quickly joining big media and big tech and calling for Joe Biden's coronation. For those of you who don't know, and I'm sure you do because people who listen to my podcast are really smart, that the fact that the media called it doesn't make it legal. And before we continue on, I want to thank all my new subscribers. I really much appreciate it. I'm a new podcast, and I could really use the help. So if you could push that subscribe button and push the like button, that would be great. Let's continue on. As for Mr. Trump, they want him frog-marched out of the White House right now. Why wait? The president has had the audacity to question the accuracy of the vote, especially in key states where he was leading until counting stopped in the middle of the night, owing to kickback in with a massive infusions of Biden ballots. Nothing to see here, folks. The Post editorial board, which has spewed hatred at Mr. Trump since before he took office, that's true, and fully backed the Russian collusion hoax and absurd impeachment, also true, accused Republicans of enabling his dishonest slander against American democracy itself. They try to remove a duly elected sitting president over bullshit. And they say that the Republicans are a threat to democracy? Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. You think as I think, or you're dead. That's the way they operate. One would have hoped, at the very least, for an honest slander. I like that, honest slander. Like the old days. Despite ballooning evidence of widespread voter fraud, it's funny when they say widespread, they think it's all one cabal. I think what happened when these tens of millions of ballots went out were all these huge loopholes in the systems all over, and they took advantage of that. So was this some secret conspiracy by a cabal of people? No, they knew exactly what was going to happen when they did it. No more than you take a brand new Mercedes and leave it in a parking lot. It's a busy parking lot with the windows rolled down, the keys in it. And somebody comes by and steals it, and they go, "Oh, I don't know how that happened. It wasn't their car. I can't believe they took it." Of course they took it. Of course they took advantage of the loopholes. That's what people do. Despite ballooning evidence of widespread voter fraud, we're supposed to pretend that nothing's amiss. The Post, like the New York Times, CNN, and MSNBC, apparently has an algorithm and inserts the phrase, this is funny, without evidence or words baseless, false, or discredited, and any mention of voter fraud or voting irregularities. They do this even in fact checks, where contrary opinions are labeled lies, so if you think something should be looked at more closely, you're a liar. A charter member of the Shut Up and Do What You're Told clique, the Post and other colleagues in big tech have been caught red-handed censoring conservative content and covering up Biden's scandals. All true. The Post front page banner slogan is "Democracy dies in darkness." It sure does. The Post has backed every single reform by Democrats to weaken election security, said voters are in the dark about how elections are manipulated. I can't think of a better way to bump off democracy. When it assists from the COVID-19 virus, the Democrats have turned Election Day into election season, where the secret ballot, the key to honest elections, is on the endangered list. They've pushed to end voter ID, initiated ballot harvesting, created automatic registration at government offices, sent millions of mail-in ballots to households that did not request them. That's the key there, folks. Resisted enforcement of the federal law requiring up-to-date voter rolls, yeah, that just should be automatically done because they want these ballots going out. They want to get a list, and I ran in 5 elections here in upstate New York. You can get a list of when people voted. You find somebody that hasn't voted in 4 or 5 years that's still registered, you go to their house and their name isn't on the mailbox, guess what? That guy has a good chance of appearing in a local election to vote, even though he's not there. How are you going to? They won't compare signatures. You can't ask for ID. There's huge holes in the system, and they like it just like it is. Resisted enforcement of federal law requiring up-to-date voter rolls, championed illegal immigration, applauded judges who arbitrarily change election laws to favor Democrats. Yeah, all true. Hesitant to accept any of this, and you're a racist who wants to suppress the vote. Well, it could be worse. You could be accused of being a white evangelical Christian, the lowest of the low. In the Post Sunday Opinion section at number 15, Dana Milbank devoted a whole column demonizing white evangelical Christians, a group he clearly despises. The headline was, "Trump Racist Appeals Power to Evangelical Turnout." Jeez. Unbelievable, hyperbolic people. They're just Trump derangement syndrome. If you're a Christian who voted for Mr. Trump, as did 80% of the white evangelicals, you must be racist. As Mr. Bilbeck explains, white evangelicals account for 15% of the population, but turn down in greater numbers than any other demographic group, amounting to 20% of the vote. Why? White evangelicals are fired up like an elder group by Trump's encouragement of white supremacy, he says. Jesus. To buttress his case, he quotes Robert P. Jones, who directs the Public Religion Institute. White Christians went for Trump not despite, but through appeals to white supremacy, invoking powerful fears about the loss of white Christian dominance. Oh, my God. Have these people ever talked to black evangelical conservatives? You know, the people who don't want America turning into a Marxist version of Sodom and Gomorrah? Probably not. Like ex-gays and ex-transgenders. They're not supposed to be here on Earth. Their very existence spoils the left's drumbeat that people must live the life laid out for them by their betters. If they don't march in lockstep with the Democrat ideas of diversity, then they ain't black, as Joe Biden would say. Remember, no less than the Smithsonian proclaimed that punctuality, hard work, math skills, and good manners are white. I remember that one. Unbelievable. I remember that one, and they later took it down from their website. Mr. Milbank further burnishes his argument by citing a prominent figure in Democratic circles who blurted out to me, "People who want to live in a white supremacy society vote Republican. Those who don't vote Democrat, wow, no muss, no fuss there." The columnist says his calculation might be hyperbolic, but contains a grain of truth. I'd call it something else that's unprintable. No, I'll say it. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And it's catching up with them. I wish you would catch up faster. It's ruined my business here in upstate New York. I'm a former Democrat, now Republican. I'm in a very low-income area with a high percent of minorities. And I'll tell you the truth, folks. It's tough. It's tough. Anyway, folks, that's what you can expect. as the Democrat Party slowly but surely dies. And like any powerful wounded animal, will just lash out at anything it can get near. Be prepared for it. There's going to be some casualties. Maybe business people like me, or maybe a lot of elected people, they're going to lash out as they see they're losing power and control. They think they've won. And when it finally dawns on them they haven't, watch the hell out. But then that'll be the end of it. And their last death throes, maybe the party can rebuild itself and become a Democrat Party that I once belonged to. Anyway, folks, thanks for your time. And until next time, goodbye and good luck.